I thought I'd make a video today about a topic that's been on my mind a lot recently. I've seen a lot of you guys ask me questions about this thing in my comments section, and I just thought I'd just make a video. It's easier and I can actually just share my thoughts on the whole idea of investing in dividend stocks when you're young. For some context, I'm 27 and I have a dividend portfolio. A dividend portfolio that I share here on YouTube. So, of course, I do have a lot of people asking me the question, which is normally something along the lines of, why are you wasting your time investing in dividend stocks instead of growth stocks? Or why are you putting your money into companies or stocks that are just not going to return you very much? You're better off, and it always comes with financial advice, you're better off putting your money in X, Y, and Z. Okay, so the thing is, a lot of people that leave me these comments don't actually realize that I do invest in other things that aren't just dividend stocks. But even with that said, the point is I am interested in dividend stocks for a few particular reasons. So let me get into that and then let me share sort of my plans going forward. Because honestly, guys, I do understand where you're coming from. I know the arguments for and against dividend stocks, and I agree with a lot of them. You know, yes, if you compare a dividend stock and a growth stock that's done well and a dividend stock that has maybe not done so well or has done so well, you're going to see faster and bigger returns with the growth stock, hence why they're called growth stock. Of course, they are a little bit more risky and whatnot, but I understand it. You know, if I wanted the most return, I would probably take a little bit of risk and put more money into a growth stock. And of course, when you're young, so when you're sort of maybe under the age of, I don't know, I'm not even going to pick an age, but when you're in the accumulation stage of your investing journey, before you start living off of your money, it makes the most sense to try and accumulate as much money as possible during those years. Which again, why people say invest in things that are going to return you more money. I get it, completely understand. But the reason I started investing in dividend paying stocks is, well, there's a couple of reasons actually. The first one is because I find dividend growth investing, a very motivating strategy, okay? When you invest in dividend stocks, that company pays you for investing in them in the form of a dividend. You get an actual payment. With that payment, you can then, if you're smart, use it to go and buy more shares of that company or any other company in your portfolio. Of course, if you're later on in your journey or you really need to, you might decide to withdraw that money and spend it. That's fine as well if that's what's needed. But for me, my aim was always to reinvest those dividends. And through that method, I could add money to the portfolio, reinvest those dividends, and with both of them factors coming in, I can then accumulate more and more and more shares. And it allows you something tangible to actually track. Of course, you can. I'm not saying you can't track your investment portfolio if you don't invest in dividend stocks. But what I'm saying is by having dividend paying stocks, you can track your dividends every single month. So you can say, January 2022, I received 22, we'll stick to the theme here, £22 in dividends. Okay, great. February, I received £17 in dividends, and you can do the whole month. And then come the next year, after reinvesting those dividends, what you should start to see is January 2023. Wow, I've received £55 in dividends, and it just keeps going. And it's by tracking that and seeing that growth that you actually stay mentally invested in this. And of course, we all know that time in the market is more important than time in the market, meaning the more time you actually stay invested, the better for the output at the end. And that's because it comes down to compound interest. And the more time that you're actually getting that compounding effect, the better chance you have of doing really well. It's simple stuff. Anything that's going to encourage someone to actually keep investing and keep showing up for themselves every single month, every single week, whatever, however often they invest, is going to be really, really promising. And it's a really good thing. And I think a lot of people knock dividend investing because of this, because of that. But actually at the base of it, a lot of people that dividend invest just find it really motivating. And if they've got a strategy that keeps them investing their money, that's got to be a good thing, right? Because it even if it just gives them a starting point, you know, they begin dividend investing, then they start realizing they want to add some ETFs, some growth stocks, whatever it may be. it's still motivating them to invest. And that is something that is done for me. And that's really, really important, I think. Enough about that. That's all about like the motivation and the psychology of dividend investing. And I think that really, really is quite a big thing. The next thing for me is that when I was thinking about what I wanted to invest in, moving from, sort of my beginner stage where I was just primarily investing in ETFs, which by the way, is a fantastic strategy, and I'm never going to knock just having ETFs. I just got to a point where I was so interested in investing and in stocks and analysing companies that I wanted some individual holdings. So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking that it made most sense for me at that point in time to have UK dividend stocks because it's more tax efficient. If I were to invest in US individual dividend stocks, I pay a 15% withholding tax. So I just thought I'd stick to UK stocks right now. And also I had VUSA, which is my S&P 500 ETF. So I wanted to balance the exposure to the US with some UK individual stocks as well. Before even really thinking about dividend investing, to be honest, I just brainstormed what companies in the UK I wanted. Simple. No influence, no pressure of having a dividend or a non-dividend stock, just what companies, UK companies, did I want in my portfolio? Did I have strong conviction for? And these companies were players like Diageo, Unilever, Rio Tinto, Legal & General. Anyway, I noted all these down and guess what? They were all dividend paying stocks. And that's a theme in the UK. Most of our companies do pay a dividend. I'm sure that there are a few, but the main ones that you would want in your portfolio, or at least I wanted in my portfolio, were just dividend paying stocks. So it kind of worked itself out. And then of course, I did actually want to have dividend paying stocks as well. That did come into it. But yeah, they were just these companies that tended to be, they weren't really growth companies. They were more of the boring companies, and that was fine by me. Boring can be good as well. Boring, stable companies that paid me a dividend that I could reinvest and grow over time. So those were my two reasons as to why I started dividend investing. The motivation, reinvesting those dividends, accumulating more shares, and the fact that what I wanted to invest in just happened to pay me dividends as well. I mean, there's probably way more that you could say for and against this argument as to why a 27-year-old would be interested in dividend investing, and am I wasting my time? Am I getting only a small return than what I could get if I threw it all in a ETF or I threw it all in growth stocks? There are loads of things to be said. But something else I wanted to say is that I can only talk about my portfolio. My portfolio right now is VUSA, VHYL. They both pay a dividend. VHYL is a high dividend yield ETF, so that is focused on dividend companies in particular that pay a higher on average dividend yield. Still really, really good quality companies in there. You can go and take a look at it on the Vanguard website if you want. And then VUSA, which is the largest 501, whatever it is now, companies in the US. That one pays a dividend. The dividend yield is very small and it's not focused on just dividend companies. It has like Tesla and stuff in there as well. So I don't think you could argue that me having that one makes me a dividend investor necessarily, but also it does pay me dividends. Yeah, so I have those two. I also have a global all cap ETF from my last year's ISA. And then on top of that, I have a selection of less than 15 companies in the UK that pay a dividend. So that's where I stand right now. Moving forward, I am going to continue to invest in dividend stocks because of the reasons that I've given. That's not going anywhere. I'm going to add to that. I'm going to carry on tracking it and I'm going to be sharing it with you guys moving forward, which I really, really enjoy doing. And I hope you enjoy it as well. Just seeing the portfolio grow, how much I've been paid in dividends every single month and tracking it over time. And then on top of that, I'm going to be adding some more US dividend paying stocks in because there's a few companies, and Canadian actually, there's a few Canadian and American companies that I've got my eye on that I want in my portfolio for this reason, that also happen to pay a dividend. So I'll be adding them in and just accepting the 15% withholding tax. And on top of that, also, there are one or two companies that I've already got positions in that are growth stocks that I want inside of my ISA in a larger percentage. So I'll be sharing that with you as well when I sort of add that to my portfolio. But yeah, with all of that combined, I should imagine that the dividend individual section of my portfolio, dividend individual stock section of my portfolio, won't actually be even maybe 50% of my entire portfolio. If you were to add my ETFs that pay a dividend, my individual stocks that pay a dividend, and call that my dividend portfolio, which makes most sense, that will probably be like 50%, and then I'll have another 50% growth stocks and other things exposure, crypto, whatever. But I'll share all that, more clearly when the time comes. But I just wanted to make this video because I do see a lot of comments asking me why I'd be interested in dividend stocks at such a young age. And you know what? I get it, but there are things that are really good about dividend investing as well. So I hope that clears some things up. I hope that you found this interesting. If you want to know anything else, do leave me a comment and I'll make a video at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, if you want to join the Patreon where you get access to the Discord, there is a link in the description below. But other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic day and I'll see you in another video very shortly.